Welcome back to a special coverage of today's events that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi took part in. Joining us over the phone to tell us more about it is Dr. Saeed Khouly, a professor of economics. And good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you for joining us. Sir, since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi launched a vision to build a modern Egypt, there has been a lot of work to implement this vision by mega projects and creating social services brackets and so forth. How do you view the progress so far, and why is the new project so significant?
First of all, the project of Decent Life Initiative initiated 4 years ago, and we start to see it in reality today. Remember, when President Sisi launched this initiative 4 years ago, he meant to switch from welfare to workfare. Instead of providing people with the necessity they need, we also find a job opportunity. And that's what we saw today. About over 70 projects was initiated today, and people they start to gain work and start to build their small business and intermediate business in order to improve their life. The major objective of Decent Life Initiative is focused in several dimensions. The first dimension is to provide needy people or the most poorest area in Egypt with a quality of life in order to increase their dignity and integrity, in order to provide them with job opportunity, in order to provide them with a good health initiative and educational initiative, and also training for these people how to start up their business.
Yes, sir, during the exhibition itself, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was keen to talk about the economic file and adopting ways to boost the economic file. How do you evaluate the measures taken to sort of preserve the economy or shield it from what's happening globally?
If you look around us, most of the country around us, during COVID-19 and during the Russian war, Russian-Ukrainian war, it became the gross development. It is in the negative side. Egypt, thank God, still in the positive side. And of course, the expectation of Egyptian growth by international identity, it's simply it will help Egypt. The growth rate it will reach 4.5% in year 2024, and that is a good rate. That's the good news. Where we're still in the positive side, not in the negative side. Remember, all the projects, all the initiative, all the strategic alliance Egypt built for the last few years start to be in reality right now and start to produce product and service. And remember, the idea of President Sisi to really depend on adding value to our raw materials and be able to produce in Egypt, made in Egypt. It's very important.
Yes. What about the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals? And part of the goals is to achieve food security, in addition to achieving certain development goals, sustainable development and agriculture and so forth. How do you see the progress so far when it comes to these projects and these goals? Will we be able to attain them by the year 2030?
Remember, a few years ago, 3 years ago to be exact, they developed what we call it as National Academy for Training, and that is to train people in order to start up their business. Remember, a few years ago, after the revolution of June, the Sinai, for example, it was a lot of terrorism in Egypt, and now Egypt is a safe haven for investment. Egypt, they are really reached zero terror in Sinai and many other areas in Egypt. And now we consider Egypt as a safe haven to attract foreign direct investment here, and that is the planning, and that is the major objective of Egypt Vision 2030. Also, Egypt, if you take a look around us, we'll see a lot of things happen in Egypt in terms of infrastructure, in terms of power supply, in terms of agriculture. Over 1.5 million acres started to produce wheat and all these products in Egypt. And really, depending on how to best use our natural resources, how to add value to our natural resources. We used to export raw materials. Now Egypt, it adds value and produce a product and service manufactured in Egypt. So the slogan of Made in Egypt, it became reality right now.
Yes, and sir, also during the visit to the governorate of Bahia, the president spoke to some of the locals in the governorate, specifically women and younger people, and he spoke about empowering women and empowering the youth. How important is this in the development process of the economy? And if we help empower women and integrate them into the workforce, will this help also improve the economy?
When President Sisi take power, he gave a good intention to women in Egypt. Woman in Egypt is my mother, is my sister, is my wife, is my daughter, and really integrated already in Egypt. If you recall the convention which we saw it all a few months ago, where women start to have their own business, startup business, and they start to produce instead of depending on subsidy or financial aid. Yes. They start to be part of the economical system. They start to be depending on themselves in order to add value to the Egyptian economy. Women and men are a very, very crucial ingredient for the growth of Egypt. I'm not talking about man or woman, but I'm talking about Egyptian people. We have no difference between man and woman when it comes to workforce. And President Sisi supports women in all different means with 100 million healthy women and so on. And that is President Sisi initiative for providing a good health care for women, especially in rural areas.
Yes, the president also spoke about technical training and empowering the youth, and spoke about the uses of certain technological features such as artificial intelligence. Do you think investing in human capacity is something that is important in building a new future for the country?
Remember, 3 years ago, as I mentioned, we have the National Academy of Training. Yeah. And remember also, 60% of our population is youth. And in order to be able to attract foreign direct investment, in order to grow our economy, we have to depend heavily in teaching our youth how to utilize the new technology. The new technology in terms of education, new technology in terms of curriculum, new technology in terms of training these people in order to use the fourth industrial revolution technology. Artificial intelligence is a fourth industrial revolution is built in 4 pillars. One of them is artificial intelligence. Another thing, which is 3D printer, Internet of Things, and all of this, it has been applied to our educational system in Egypt.
Yes. Sir, what about the incentives that were given by the state towards farmers for the wheat agricultural season? Since Bahia is a governorate that has a lot of farmlands, what kind of incentives could they offer farmers to help them grow their wheat?
Remember, according to Dr. Mustafa Khouly, which he already built a fair price for the agricultural products we produce by our farmers, and really the logistic and all materials, vegetalization and fertilizer provided for our farmers in a very, very decent fare. It helps the farmer to produce more and more. Remember, with using the new technology in agriculture, the outcome of our agriculture land doubled and tripled in many governments in Egypt. And with 1.5 million acres in agriculture, it's considered to be enough to satisfy the local demand in our consumer area. We are doing a very good job when it comes to agriculture.
Yes. So, sir, do you believe that within the near future we will be self-sufficient when it comes to wheat products?
In the near future, yes. Now we are really satisfying about 60 to 70% from our local supply here, our agriculture. And in the future, with the new developments in Sinai, in Toshga, and many other places, which we already started to reconstruct our land, infrastructure our land, will be able to 100% depending on our product and service in terms of agriculture. Also, we add value for our agriculture product. Instead of exporting vegetable and so on, we produce semi-made or some industry, they take the materials and transform it in a finished product and be able to add value for our agriculture, vegetables and food.
Yes, sir, what about going back to the idea of the youth and their empowerment? There was also talk about how the youth could be helpful also not only when it comes to empowerment and giving them knowledge, but also through volunteer work and sort of creating some sort of network for the younger generation so that they can better communicate and help build a nation as well. How important is it to engage the younger generation within this process?
Absolutely, it is a very important issue what you are talking about. And remember, with the initiative of Decent Life Initiative, which you consider to be
I'm sorry, Dr. Said, I apologize to cut you off there, but we have to cut you off because we're going live. Dr. Said Khouly, Professor of Economics.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take a break and then move on to the live reporting.